and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about some cozy mysteries that are perfect for the fall season. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited to be talking about cozy mysteries today. I haven't talked about cozy mysteries in a really long time. If you guys are new to my channel, I'm predominantly a romance reader, mostly historical romance, but I do enjoy a cozy mystery from time to time. If you're not familiar with what a cozy mystery is, it's basically a mystery book, but it's very wholesome, if that makes sense. I kind of liken it to a Hallmark movie. It gives you those very warm, cozy vibes, hence the name. So basically every cozy mystery is going to be following some type of amateur sleuth that is somehow involved or around a murder, and they're trying to find out who committed the murder and what the mystery is. But the thing with cozy mysteries is it is pretty wholesome, so there's nothing gory, there's not anything very suspenseful. It's completely unlike horror or thriller movies. You definitely don't get that jump factor, so you still get that like interesting murder mystery vibe, but it's not scary, if that makes sense. And there's all types of different subgenres within cozy mysteries, and honestly I think they're the perfect books to read during the fall time. Just a few cozy mysteries to talk about. If you guys are new to the genre, I think these are like a really good start. If you're looking for even more cozy mystery recommendations, I have to recommend my beautiful friend Spencer from Intentionally Bookish. She is the reason that I got into cozy mysteries. I found her channel and she's lovely. She reads romance and cozy mysteries and gives a bunch of great recommendations, and she loves the fall time. She's also a new mama. So happy for her and her family. So go follow her, go show her some love. Let's jump into these recommendations. All right, so let's start. I cannot do a cozy mystery video without mentioning Ellie Alexander. Her Big Shot mystery series was my introduction into cozies, and it still remains my favorite series pretty much ever. I absolutely adore her writing. I adore this entire series. The first book in the series is called Meet Your Baker. I think there's 12 books in the series. I'm not quite sure. The thing with cozy mysteries is that they do tend to be very lengthy series. There's like 15, 20 books in a series. This basically follows Juliet, who in the first book, Meet Your Baker, is headed back to her small hometown. She's having some marital problems with her husband. She works in a cruise ship, and she decides to come back home and help her mom with her family bakery. And as she gets there, bum bum bum, there's a murder, and she has to find out who did it. She also kind of has to like sort out her feelings for her husband. She also bumps into a childhood sweetheart kind of, and she's like sorting through that relationship. The thing with cozy mysteries is there's not that much romance in there, and if there is, it's definitely like fade to black, but there is just like a little sprinkle of romance and a love triangle in this book. What's another fun little piece of this series is that her hometown is particularly known for their Shakespeare festival. There is this theater group that recreates Shakespeare plays, and that plays like a huge, get it? I didn't mean to do that pun, but I did it anyways. Basically plays a huge part in this book. So if you're a fan of literature and Shakespeare and all things cozy, I feel like it's all in this book. It's so good. This one, the first book, I think takes place during the summertime, so my favorite in this series is actually the second book, and this one is called A Matter of Life and Death, and this does take place during the autumn season. So in this book, there is a TV show that is really known for like baking cakes, and they are really attracted to the Shakespearean festival, and they want to film in this town. Juliet really does need some money for her bakery, so she ends up letting them film in her bakery, and also ends up becoming one of the contestants on the show and is competing. And as the show is filming, what do you think happens, friends? A murder. So she needs to figure out what happens. I also really like the food aspect because she's really into like baking and cooking, and a lot of times you get little sprinkles of recipes in here. I think there's even like recipes at the end of each book. Yeah, so like this one, there's a pumpkin cream latte recipe. There's a recipe for pork, apple, and fontina sandwiches. There's a recipe for chili. I don't cook. That's not my journey. That's not my vibe, but I appreciate it, you know? So honestly, I feel like you could just pick up any book in this series and completely fall in love. So the next book was a recommendation from Spencer. I think this is one of her favorite series, if not her favorite cozy mystery series. It is Homicide in hardcover by Kate Carlisle, and this is part of the Bibliophile mystery series. Okay, so this book follows Brooklyn, who has a very interesting job. She restores old-fashioned historical books. She ends up going to a party with some of her co-workers, and lo and behold, there's a murder. There's always a murder in these cozy mysteries. And it is actually her mentor who is lying in a pool of his own blood and like clutching this very old textbook. Right before her mentor dies, he hands her this book and gives her a very cryptic message about it. This book is kind of notorious for having a little bit of a curse on it. Every person who has had this book in their possession has ended up harmed or dead. So it has a little bit of a cursed situation. So she's trying to restore the book to kind of like finish her mentor's job, but she's also trying to find out who committed the murder. And this one was really fun. My favorite part of this book was she had a very like quirky best friend who I just thought was absolutely hilarious. So definitely a good one to read and totally fits in the fall season. So this next book that I'm going to talk about kind of transcends into the full holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that is Cookie Dough or Die by Virginia Lau. So this book follows Olivia Grayson, who owns a gingerbread store. She sells cookies and also is very notorious for selling like gingerbread cutouts, like classic old style gingerbread cutouts, collector's piece. This one is kind of similar to the last one where she ends up finding her mentor dead. Her mentor is named Clarice Chamberlain, who is a pretty wealthy socialite kind of in this town. What's pretty interesting is that she actually ends up leaving a pretty large inheritance to Olivia, which shocks a lot of people and kind of like drags her into the family drama and a potential murder suspect. Police are ready to deem this situation as a suicide, but she knows her friend and she knows that this might be a case of murder. So she ends up trying to find out who it is, and again, I just really loved this one. The next book is one I just recently finished and I loved. I listened to the audiobook, and that is If Walls Could Talk by Juliet Blackwell. This book is so perfect for the spooky season. It follows Melanie Turner, who is a home renovator for very classic Victorian homes. She likes to keep like the style of Victorian homes, which I think is really cool if you like HGTV. What makes this one really interesting for the spooky season is that Melanie is kind of contracted to vamp up this house as a favor to one of her co-workers, and she ends up finding another one of her co-workers dead when she goes to review the house. Obviously, she's very traumatized by that fact, but then she starts seeing him after his death. She starts seeing his ghost, and it turns out that Melanie has some type of connection, sixth eye, whatever you want to call it, where she can see ghosts and have paranormal encounters. Her ex-coworker is appearing to her, and he has no idea or remembrance of who murdered him, and he wants her help, and she feels drawn to not only helping him, but also the mystery of the house. And this book definitely takes like a winding road of mystery in it. Like, there's so much going on with this house, so many like family secrets. It kind of reminds me of like those old classic like murder mystery TV shows and movies, kind of like Clue. It's like, who the heck did it? There's so much like drama, and I really like this one. The audiobook is really fun. Again, I think this is so perfect for the spooky season because hello, she can see ghosts. You know what I mean? I typically don't read books about ghosts because I've had quite a few paranormal experiences and encounters in my lifetime that are just not a lot of fun, but this one I highly recommend because it's not spooky. It was just really interesting. I finished this book probably in a day and a half because I was so invested in it and it moved so quickly. Okay, another one that I think just fits perfectly into the cozy season is Misspelled by Morgana Best. This is the first book in the Kitchen Witch series. Our heroine, she is just down on her luck. Her boyfriend breaks up with her. She can't pay her rent and is about to get evicted. and she just is super clumsy and is always messing things up. And out of nowhere, she ends up getting a letter slipped under her door from a family friend who basically tells her that her grandmother that she's never met before left her a house in Australia. Not only did she leave her the house, but she also left her a cupcake shop and kind of dropped the secret that she comes from a family, a long line of witches. She had no idea that she had any type of magical powers. She can't bake to literally save her life. So she ends up deciding to pack up all of her things and move to this house, which is in Australia, and take over her grandmother's baking shop. And a murder happens. I mean, I think we kind of get the theme of Cozy Mysteries. A customer actually takes a bite of her cupcake and just passes out. Falls flat on the floor and dies, which is not a good look for a new cupcake shop, especially because he was like eating one of her cupcakes. So she's kind of a suspect. She needs to figure out what happened. This one is so freaking funny. Like, the humor in this book was absolutely hilarious. So the last book that I want to talk about is a book that I'm currently reading. I haven't quite finished. I still have like 2 hours left on the audiobook, but I wanted to mention it because I'm really enjoying it, and it is One Poison Pie by Lynn Cahoon. So this one is another kind of kitchen witch mystery series. Her one is a witch and she specializes in cooking and baking. She ends up moving to this very small town and ends up buying an like old abandoned school that she plans to renovate to basically like have this catering service and to teach cooking classes, and she has this whole vision. She recently went through a bad breakup and she's just trying to like reinvent herself. Well, her first job is to cater one of her grandmother's best friend's party. Now, this lady, she's not really well liked. She's very particular with the food, and she just had like a really hard time catering this party. And then to make matters worse, on the day of the party, the lady ends up dead. Dang, just not a great start to her new business. So she is a prime suspect and she needs to figure out who did it so she can clear her name. She's also going through a lot of trouble with her ex and her magic, and it's just a really fun cozy mystery. I'm really enjoying it. All right, so those are all the cozy mysteries that I think would be so perfect for you guys to read during the fall season. If you have any recommendations of your own, please let me know and leave a comment down below. That rhymed. I hope you guys are all having a great day. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. Hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye!